The next one is from Joe. I would love some insight into what to incorporate into our inner parenting when confronted with awful news, like the devastation of the recent hurricane. I'm struggling to stay positive in a world of so much suffering. I'm working on trying to protect my own energy better, but if you have any other tips on coming to terms with the suffering in the world, when we feel it so much, I would really appreciate them. Yes, I will, and gladly, because this is something that a lot of INF types in particular struggle with. We tend to be so affected by our circumstances or, our surroundings. One of the reasons why I live somewhere like here, because I want to be around great people and I want to be around space and nature and everything, so that I don't only focus on what's wrong and who's stressed out. And if you live in cities, people tend to be a lot more stressed out. In the country, it just tends to be a lot more laid back. So to go back to answer your question, I would like to offer you a challenge, Joe, and anybody else who suffers with this or struggles with this particular issue. And that challenge is, as many things as you notice that are wrong around you, make sure to notice the things that are right. Because I believe, if you're anything like me, and I believe that, from your question it makes me believe that you are, is that I did not proactively notice things that were right and that were good. I didn't do it. So then I started to drown into only the things that are wrong. Now, that's not going to take away the suffering of the hurricane. Or, in the US at the moment, it's still September 11th. So going back to that tragedy and the loss of life, so in those big situations, it's very important that we notice, yes, this is what's going on and it's horrible, but also notice how people then come together and rally around and have a lot more connection and togetherness as a result of those challenges. Because the thing about it is that if you observe, if you're able to kind of step back and just observe life, what will happen is that you will notice that there's nothing so bad that there isn't something good in it. And there's nothing so good that there isn't something bad in it. Everything is balanced if you observe enough things. But if you think that things are not balanced in some way, and I'm not in any way downplaying the effects of these tragedies at all, but what I will say is that if you don't notice how things are in fact in balance, generally, what happens is that you start to get overly focused on what's wrong. And I'm wondering if you're anything like me, that it's easier to notice the things that are wrong, and then once you're in that space, you've told your subconscious that things are wrong, this is horrible, then the next thing that happens is that you're training your subconscious to only notice the wrong things, the things that are bad. So you need to make sure that you yourself are feeding yourself both good information and noticing the things that are wrong. So I hope that answers a big bulk of that question. Now, how to incorporate inner parenting into this? Simply, every time that you notice something bad, make sure to say something good as well. So let's just say that you're watching the news and you say, you see like the destruction from the hurricane, and or the mass shooting or terror attacks or war or child abuse or anything like that. When you see that, take a moment to say, I am so grateful that I haven't experienced that firsthand. And that alone stops you from feeling like there's only bad things. And now you have a little bit of perspective. You have like a point of reference that not everything is bad. The thing about it is that when we are wanting to do something good in the world, like we're wanting to help people who are struggling. We cannot help them from the space of focusing in their struggle. We can't do that, because we'll only get them deeper and deeper and deeper into what's wrong. It's one thing to listen to a person and validate how they're feeling, and it's entirely another one to go down there with them. So in order for you to really be of service, you need to understand that you need to hold a certain space, and you might be talking to somebody who's really struggling, and you hold that space saying, I'm thankful I don't have these challenges, or I'm thankful I don't have these challenges anymore, and then see the other person who has the challenges as an empowered individual. So see the outcome that you want them to have, that they are wanting to have for themselves. See that outcome and try and remind them about how far they've come and how well they're coping, and just acknowledging that, yes, it's a hard time, but look at how well you're doing. And you just begin this whole empowerment dynamic, as opposed to this spiral downwards that they suck you down with them.